seems to fill the set, leaving the audience baffled at how they could pull away from the footage at such a tense, important moment,
seems like the heli got
causing
stuck
many
into
to change
something.
the channel in a hurry to see just how this thing would end, which is where many would be faced with the reality of what exactly they had just witnessed.
Not power lines, they fly too high.
Wait, I got a problem here.
No,
Okay.
it can't be on it's in the power lines. Let me explain why. The reason why I know this is that the protocol with things like that, the police helicopters, they fly really low, but still pretty high, right? And the news helicopters fly much higher, much away from all the fucking this stuff. So it didn't get caught in the wires like that. It just probably just crashed or something happened with it. But it's way out.
I got an accident. Go north. I got a helicopter down.
Oh no, Connie is telling us she has a helicopter down. Oh no, Connie, this is unbelievable. All right, well, we're going to leave that pursuit and find out. Oh, this is miserable. This is unbelievable. Connie, can you tell us, are you getting chatter? You would know more than us right now.
I don't know.
At this moment, while KNVX TV's helicopter, piloted by Craig Smith, along with cameraman Rick Krolak, was capturing the action, a separate helicopter piloted by Scott Bowerbank and cameraman Jim Cox from the KTVK station had been unknowingly heading directly towards them, and with all four men blinded by their obligation to capture this chase in real time, the two aircrafts would unexpectedly collide, leading to the free fall of both helicopters and the deaths of all four aboard. The footage was captured by both parties involved and shown live to who knows how many people, with both providing equally chilling moments, like in the original KNVX TV broadcast, where you can hear the faint yelling of one of the men on board.
Well, we don't know what has just happened right there. It looks like the police.
And in the KTVK helicopter, when Jim Cox says the line,
"Now he's hitting eastbound and he just hit some more barricades. Absolutely unbelievable. This guy doesn't care what he hits."
when in reality, the very craft he was in was mere moments away from barreling straight into the other news chopper.
Yeah.
The entire scene is certainly one of the darkest police chases ever recorded. And to me, what makes it all the more gut-wrenching is seeing the other news
that comment was a little bit out of pocket, to be honest, but okay.
stations swarm to cover the crash.
Yeah, I was about to say,
with many of those people forced to cover the incident being acquaintances and even good friends with the people they had just watched perish, leading to some genuinely heartbreaking reactions.
Holy crap! Oh no! Oh Jesus! Oh God! Oh my gosh! Hey, oh my God! Channel 15 and Channel 3 just had a mid-air collision. Just watch that whole thing. I'm good. I'm out here now. I think it was Scott.
Don't be weird, chat.
There's one thing I would request. Please leave my family alone.
Chat, it's a very visceral reaction. That could have been him. And it was his. Like, probably the people that are in the same position as him in other networks, or whatever. It's really like it's almost to you, you know. You're kind of like
nearly 18 years ago now, a strange phenomenon hit British tabloids as the papers began to report on a seemingly mundane man named Mick Philpott. As far as I could tell, he never seemed to go out of his way to acquire this fame, but rather the lifestyle he lived caused it to occur organically, and for all the wrong reasons. The then nearly 50-year-old man had recently become a father of 15, with the children split up between 5 different women, 2 of which he took turns living with in a sort of love triangle situation. And if the living arrangements and the sheer number of kids wasn't intriguing enough, he further gained infamy thanks in large part due to his attitude on working, as he refused to get a job and instead would allegedly scheme his way into getting exponential amounts of government benefits. And he did so all the while his pregnant wife and his pregnant girlfriend carried out full-time jobs.
Jesus.
It's easy to find their living arrangements strange and maybe even a bit comical, but behind it all was actually a very legitimate dark side, as Mick had a habit of finding young vulnerable girls to essentially groom and impregnate. His now wife Marie was just 18 years old at the time they began dating, and she was one of the older ones, as when he was 37, he struck up a relationship with a 14-year-old girl who eventually ran away with him at the age of 16. And this dark side of his gets worse when it's revealed that he was also a notorious domestic abuser, slapping and violently beating his past partners on numerous occasions, including one instance when he stabbed his ex-girlfriend 12 times, before then turning the knife on her mother who attempted to step in and help. His reason for doing this? Well, Ellie didn't like that she spent so much time watching over a baby she was caring for. Thankfully, despite the traumatic injuries, the mother and daughter would survive the attack and go on to live normal lives. And because of this assault, Mick would receive the staggering prison sentence of 7 years.
What?
By the 80s, he was a free man, continuing his nefarious activities all the while. For lack of a better word, Mick was a menace, who somehow was not only a free man after all the crimes he committed.
Wait, they have a bunch of crimes. They have an established pattern, an established motive. They have everything, and they get 7 years for like attempted double murder. What?
But was also having his entire life funded by the very government that should have locked him away for so much longer. And with his name now in the press, mainly for his number of children, he would use his platform to complain that the benefits he received weren't enough, and that he wanted even more. This caused an even bigger stir in the tabloids, and it was only a matter of time before someone called him up to appear on TV, with Mick and his two lovers eventually being invited onto the Jeremy Kyle Show, where Mick's temper would be put on full display.
That's just a Jerry Springer copy. Bro, this is the Maury Show copy. This is like a copycat,
where Mick's temper would be put on full display.
You had a go at me. I said your kids, when they came here today, were well behaved and well mannered and well groomed. No newspapers said that, so you should be apologising to me because I hadn't even started on
It's
you.
the same format.
You start.
It's the same format.
See if I can.
Jerry. Holy shit.
Eventually, Mick would settle down, and his wife Marie and girlfriend Lisa Willis were brought out to discuss their relationship further, to which the two surprisingly seemed very content, not backing down from their stance that there was nothing wrong with their feelings towards Mick.
Do you not get slightly peeved that she is Mrs. Mick and you're Mistress Mick? No. I'm being serious.
No, I don't. You don't bother me one bit.
Ending the program off on a surprising note for the host, who likely expected some sort of reaction from the pair, even getting frustrated to the point where he would lambast the girls for their laissez-faire attitude.
Where is your dignity? You're 22. Don't you want a bloke to yourself? He just said, I agree with you. When you grew up, did you think you were going to share your bloke with another woman?
I didn't actually know. But 2 mums is better for all the kids.
Or confusing? No.
And as the show came to an end, so too did Mick's 15 minutes of fame, as the paper slowly began to find their next target, and the world continued on with Mick, his 15 kids, and multiple lovers out of mind.
Ja, why is Zia not in jail if she was 14 at the time? Isn't that just jail right there?
Until the year 2012, when his name would pop up once again for a much different reason.
We've got the police on the way. Have you any idea what's caused the fire? I've no idea, mate, but it's the work up my day long. There's smoke everywhere.
Nah, no shots.
On May 12, 2012, Mick's home would catch on fire in the dead of night, while he, his wife Marie, and their many children were sleeping peacefully. In the panic, the couple managed to escape with some of their kids, but tragically, 6 of them, all of whom were below the age of 10, would pass away in the blaze, having been stuck upstairs and inaccessible to any form of rescue. By the 16th of May, the story had reached far and wide of the tragedy that unfolded, with Mick and Marie garnering widespread community support. Locals in the area would even band together and raise the money for the children's funeral, prompting the emotional pair to give a heartfelt thank you through the media.
I've actually been down to our home, and what we saw, we just cannot believe it. To see this community to come together like that, it's just too overwhelming. But there's one thing I would request is please leave my family alone. If you've got any questions or anything at all, please don't come through me or my family. Please go to the police.
And for many, this would have likely been the last they'd ever hear of this broken family, had it not been for a single discovery found within the home's debris.
Yeah, for sure. How they started.
While sifting through the burnt remains of the house, police would discover gasoline in the mailbox, which when found at crime scenes is typically associated with arson. And coincidentally, the very morning of the fire, Mick just so happened to have a court hearing to obtain custody over he and Lisa Willis's children, the second woman who had appeared with Mick on the Jeremy Kyle Show. Given that the general public had immediately stopped caring about this family after their appearance on TV, not many knew that Mick and Lisa had actually split up in the following years and were in the midst of a bitter custody dispute, leading to speculation that Lisa may have intentionally set Mick's home on fire as some sort of vindictive act. Or at least,
no
that's
shot.
what Mick wanted us to believe.
Yeah, no shot. Nope.
What you said?
She was probably gonna win 100%, right? And yeah, I get that. I get it now.
What you said about me trying to get in?
You tried everything you could to get in there. I said to him I wanted to run through the flames, up the stairs.
Was you crying when you were saying it? How bad?
Not really, really bad, but...
Hold up, chat. Let me do one more pause. So one more pause, chat, guys. I see a lot of crime docs. I watch a lot of it. Okay, this is a common theme with some of these things. Okay, a lot of times when some parents, they have the crime mentality of if I can't have it, you can't have it, right? And they do that to their children, and it's completely fucked, dude. All right, mods ban. Everybody who said and ban the emote. Boom, done.
That's hysterical. That's it.
I don't give a fuck. Just give me a fucking 1 week ban. I don't give a fuck. Fuck all of them.
It's my fault that the family's gone. It's my fault we lost our children.
Upon doing an in-depth investigation, which included bugging a hotel room that Mick and Marie were staying in, police would eventually capture a verbal confession that proved the married couple had actually been the ones to initially set the fire, along with their friend.
Guys, if you're gonna go on Twitter and on Reddit and shit on me all the time to do for no react type shit, right? And I'm actually interested in this video and I want to talk to Chad about it, and I react, dude. You guys are being stupid, dude. Because now it's like, what the fuck is that? That like, I do the things that you want me to do, even though I want to do it regardless, right? And you punish me for it. You're a fucking dumbass. You're stupid as fuck. I don't give a fuck. Cry more? Well, I'm not crying. You're crying because you're getting smoked.
Paul
Dumbass.
Mosley. But why? Well, their goal wasn't actually to kill the children. It was instead to save them. In reality, they had planned on setting the fire in a way that Mick and Marie could swoop in at the last minute and save all the kids, as a way of making them appear as heroes, before going on to pin the fire on Lisa, and in turn having her arrested while they obtained custody of her children. It was an evil plan that was made so much worse when the fire spread too quickly, making the rescue of the children upstairs almost immediately impossible. And in his desperate attempt to gain even more children under his roof, Mick ended up killing 6 of his very own. It's particularly chilling watching the 3 of these people sitting in unison on that fateful program, none of whom knowing just how bitter things would turn, and how 2 of them would eventually become murderers, all in an attempt to frame the other. It's unspeakably dark, and thankfully this time, Mick Philpott will be kept in prison to the day he dies, exactly where he belongs.
I don't even buy the story that they're saying either.
There are a lot of accusations and allegations about what's happening.
I'm going to do something that is unthinkable.
What was that?
Our next case is by far the most requested topic that I have ever received on this channel, as it seems to strike a chord with so many who watched the situation unfold live. It all started on the evening of June 25th, 2007, the night in which the WWE had been preparing to air a live 3-hour program known as Raw. The event was set to feature their usual star-studded list of wrestlers going head-to-head in Corpus Christi, Texas. Though the morning of, out of the group of those star wrestlers, one man was missing: Chris Benoit. According to fellow wrestler Chavo Guerrero, he had received a voicemail from Benoit 2 days prior, where he was told that Benoit's wife Nancy and son Daniel had come down with food poisoning, before telling another co-worker the following day that Nancy was so sick that she had been vomiting blood. Guerrero would go on to state that the following morning he received vague text from Benoit, with some simply stating his address and another giving directions to where the dogs were being kept, and how the side door to the house was left unlocked. Texts that were sent around 3 a.m. and ignored by Guerrero, as he knew he would be seeing Benoit in just a few hours, given that he was going to be picking him up at the airport in preparation for the show. Though he would never hear from Benoit again.
Good evening. Tonight, this arena here in Corpus Christi, Texas, was to have been filled to capacity. with enthusiastic WWE
Shit,
fans.
talking about, man.
In reality, WWE superstar Chris Benoit, his wife Nancy, and their son Daniel are dead.
With the program growing nearer on the 25th, news would be relayed to the WWE that Chris Benoit, along with Nancy and Daniel, had been found dead within their home. The news came as a shock to the entire wrestling world, and not wanting to carry on with the regularly scheduled Raw event, the decision was made to cancel the matches and instead showcase a tribute to the famed wrestler who so suddenly lost his life. And so on the evening of June 25th, 2007, the WWE would reflect on some of Chris Benoit's best moments in the circuit, along with their biggest stars giving personal accounts of just how much Benoit meant to them. With it all happening live and in real time, the very night that Chris was found dead. Throughout the program, wrestlers like Stone Cold Steve Austin, John Cena, and CM Punk, who was originally scheduled to fight Benoit that night, shared heartfelt memories of just how good a man Chris Benoit truly was, emphasizing his talent, work ethic, and the love he had for his family.
There was respect. It meant everything to him. Respect for this business, respect for the fans, respect for the wrestlers, respect for his family, respect for himself.
And for a moment, this all seemed to be exactly what the wrestling world needed, to bring everyone together in remembrance. But near the end, a shift seemed to occur following an interview given by William Regal, whose comments towards Benoit felt far more reserved than the others before him, who poured their hearts out over their fallen friend.
At a later date, I'll be quite happy to sit here and tell you all the things about Chris Benoit that I'd like to tell you. But now all I'm willing to say is that Chris Benoit was undoubtedly the hardest working man in professional wrestling.
According to some watching the program, the interview did feel a bit out of place, and apparently slightly threw off the vibe of the remaining show, as things felt far more stiff and reserved than at its opening. And there was good reason for this. When Regal was preparing to do this live interview, he was allegedly approached by fellow wrestler John Layfield, who pulled him aside and asked, "You think he had anything to do with it?" Initially, the thought had never even crossed his mind. In fact, he had a heartfelt message fully prepared to read in the moments leading to his interview. But something about that question made him pause, leading to his subsequent words being rather short and cautious, as the hesitation led to the creeping thought of, what if he really did have something to do with it? A thought that very few at the time had even considered, which looking back seems so surreal. As for those familiar with the case, you know exactly where this is headed.
I don't.
We're now looking at this case and ruling it as a double homicide. Suicide. Evidence in the home leads us to believe that Mr. Benoit had murdered his wife by asphyxiation. Sometime shortly after that, the same for his son Daniel.
Well,
over the previous days,
I will never understand it. Why the children ever? Okay, I still don't understand why anybody does any of this shit. But especially even more for children, it doesn't make any sense ever.
Before Chris's tribute was aired, he would be the one to take the lives of his wife, son, and eventually himself. Benoit did so by drugging and strangling his son and wife, while leaving Bibles by their side, seemingly as a result of some type of mental breakdown. To this day, an exact motive is still not fully understood, but it likely had to do with a combination of multiple factors, with the most glaring being the head trauma that Benoit had suffered as a result of his profession. As following his death, Benoit's brain